Tonight, honoring a fallen officer.
I am lost without you. However, I will remain strong with you still in my heart and by my side.
Thousands pay tribute to Toronto Police Constable Jeffrey Northrup as he is laid to rest. How his family and those who knew him are remembering the officer killed in the line of duty. Plus,
I heard it very distinctively, the gunshots. Must be half a dozen gunshots which went off.
4 people are injured, one critically after a shooting near Keele and Finch in North York. We'll have the latest from the scene. And
well, it's frustrating for me, but also his wife, who would like to be there, and she's not allowed either.
Many hospitals are still limiting visitors to only essential caregivers. The growing calls for restrictions to be loosened as more people get vaccinated. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. Veteran Toronto police officer Jeffrey Northrup is being remembered today as a gentle giant who loved his family and his job. Northrup was killed in the line of duty 10 days ago. Today, thousands of officers from across the country were on hand for his funeral at BMO Field. Ali Chiasson has more.
Fields of police officers in uniform lined the procession. Not just Toronto police, but officers from all over the province were in attendance. As Officer Jeffrey Northrup's casket passes by, they salute. Inside BMO Field, they're all physically distanced as speeches are read.
I commend you for your strength and poise in the face of this unbearable tragedy.
On behalf of the 3 million people who reside in the City of Toronto, express our deepest condolences to Margaret, to Brennan, to Samantha, to Mitchell, and to Mother Diane on the loss of this brave, beloved officer, Jeffrey Northrup.
In an unexpected moment of humor, Mrs. Northrup.
Jeff and I met in jail. Me giving medications to inmates before court and him handcuffing them to get into the paddy wagon.
Margaret Northrup described her late husband as a positive light in their family, his work family too, 3,500 of them in attendance.
He loved mentoring young officers. I ask that you continue to thrive and support each other. The more senior officers mentoring the younger ones. Keep your communities whole and safe. This little task would honor Jeff's memory.
Toronto Police Chief James Raymer led the procession.
Putting the safety of others above our own can come at a terrible cost. This is something we accept, but never expect.
Northrup was killed on July 2nd while investigating a robbery in a downtown Toronto parking lot. He was struck by a vehicle in what police call a deliberate attack. A 31-year-old man has been charged with first-degree murder.
Although we cannot match Jeff's sacrifice, we can try to match his sense of service.
It's a horrible, senseless thing that's happened.
For many, today was a sober reminder of the risk officers and first responders face in the line of duty.
You feel bad. Yeah, you feel it here.
Jeffy, Boo Bear, I am so grateful to have had you in my life for 28 years. You were my knight, my strength, my confidant, and my best friend. Goodbye, my love.
Jeff, you epitomized everything we ask our officers to be. Compassionate and respectful to all, selfless, the model of professionalism. On behalf of Toronto and the Toronto Police Service, thank you, and may you rest in peace.
Officer Jeffrey Northrup, a 31-year veteran with the Toronto Police Force, was laid to rest today. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
4 people have been injured, one critically in a shooting in North York. It happened this afternoon in an industrial area near Keele and Finch. Ardeli Ashry has the details.
Bullets rang out in broad daylight in this industrial area near Tangiers Road and Finch Avenue West.
We believe that a vehicle was in the area and went into the address behind me here. It's an industrial area, and fired off rounds of people that were just waiting at this business.
Police say the shooting happened around 1 o'clock this afternoon outside a collision repair shop. 4 men were found with gunshot wounds and rushed to hospital. 3 with serious but not life-threatening injuries. The 4th in critical condition, but police say is expected to survive. Noble Robson works next to the repair shop. He says it's usually a quiet neighborhood.
I heard it very distinctively, the gunshots. Must be half a dozen gunshots.
He didn't see anything, but says his receptionist got a glimpse of the potential suspect vehicle.
She came in saying, hey, there's been a shooting, and she's seen a dark-colored car just whiz northbound on this road on Tangiers.
Police say a blue car was seen leaving the area shortly after the shooting, but did not give any further description. Scott McAmoyle works nearby. He says there was a shooting in the area about a year and a half ago.
Are you concerned at all?
Yeah, like everybody's concerned. You know, it seems to hit close to, I stay home and spend a lot of time here.
The investigation is still ongoing, and police say they don't know who the suspect or suspects are and what the motive is behind the shootings. Anyone with information or video is asked to contact police. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
A man is in life-threatening condition after an industrial accident near St. Clair West and Robina Avenue. It happened around 8 p.m. when police got reports of 3 men on a ladder that came in contact with electrical lines. The men reportedly fell to the ground and were possibly electrocuted. One man was rushed to hospital where he remains in critical condition. And a 1-year-old child is dead after what police are calling a tragic accident. The child was struck by a vehicle in the driveway of a home near the 410 and Williams Parkway in Brampton. It happened just after midnight. The child was rushed to hospital and was pronounced dead about an hour later. A spokesperson for Peel Police says an investigation is ongoing, but that no charges are expected to be laid. The 20-year-old man accused of killing a woman and her 3 young daughters in a crash in Brampton last year appeared in court today. Brady Robertson was behind the wheel of a speeding car that crashed into the family last June. Dale Manukdug has more from day 1 of the trial.
Brady Robertson is pleading guilty to 4 counts of dangerous operation of a vehicle causing death, but not guilty to 4 counts of impaired operation causing death. After his pleas, a friend of the victim spoke on behalf of the family.
It makes me angry. I think all of us very angry. You know, hearing him and seeing him. Those girls are never going to get to grow up. Father lost his children and his wife.
Crown attorney Patrick Quilty presented several exhibits that showed a high-speed chase between Robertson and a police officer through a residential area leading up to the fatal collision. The chase began when an officer spotted Robertson driving his blue Infiniti without a front license plate on Bramley Road. The officer made a U-turn, prompting Robertson to speed away. The officer's vehicle hit a speed of 105 kilometers per hour. A collision reconstruction analysis concluded Robertson was going 135 kilometers per hour in a 70 zone. Robertson eventually attempted to run a red light and collided with 37-year-old Carolina Chiasulo and her 3 daughters, causing her vehicle to hit a light post, which fell on her SUV, killing all 4 of them.
There's no punishment that's going to be enough. Nothing's going to bring them back. But they deserve justice.
An anti-road violence rally was held outside the courthouse where advocates called for longer maximum sentencing. Dangerous driving causing death is punishable up to 14 years.
We're also asking that the parole be switched from having to serve only 1/3 of the sentence to 3/4 of the sentence. Right now, even if they get 10 years, they only have to serve 1/3 of that before they're eligible for parole.
While Robertson pled not guilty to offenses related to impairment, the Crown presented a toxicology analysis that found THC and traces of fentanyl in his system. Cannabis and fentanyl pills were also found in his vehicle. The Crown spent the afternoon interviewing witnesses from an incident 2 days before the fatal crash, where Robertson allegedly nodded off while driving and rolled into some tree planters in Caledon. The trial resumes tomorrow at 10 a.m. Dale Manukdug, CBC News, Brampton.
An OPP officer testified today in the trial for Linda O'Leary, wife of celebrity businessman Kevin O'Leary. The officer testified O'Leary registered an alert range level of blood alcohol on a breath test taken shortly after the boat crash that killed 2 people. The officer also stated that O'Leary was reluctant to do the test, saying she consumed an alcoholic drink after the crash. The collision happened in August 2019 on Lake Joseph. O'Leary has pleaded not guilty to 1 charge of careless operation of a vessel. Police have arrested a man in connection with a string of sex assaults in the Jane and Shepherd area. Investigators say the first incident happened last Thursday evening when a woman was sexually assaulted by a man wearing a face mask. It happened near Shepherd and Buckland Road. On Friday morning, another woman was sexually assaulted just blocks away near Jane and Shepherd. Police say a third woman was sexually assaulted early Saturday morning, this time in the Shepherd and Arleta Avenue area. Police have charged 24-year-old Javon Barnes of Toronto with 3 counts of sexual assault. Barnes is also facing an assault causing bodily harm charge and a charge of failing to comply with probation. Well, turning now to the pandemic, the number of new COVID-19 cases in the province continue to decline. Ontario is reporting just 114 cases today, the lowest in 10 months, and no deaths were reported. There are only 10 new cases in Toronto and 13 in the Peel region. Nearly 16,000 tests were completed, and the 7-day average of daily cases stands at 173. And it's been another big weekend of vaccination milestones. 50% of adults in Peel region are now fully vaccinated. Overnight vaccination clinics were held in Brampton. Many who went were essential workers who couldn't get to vaccine appointments during business hours. And in Toronto, the home stretch vaccine push campaign continued this weekend. 60% of adults in this city are now fully vaccinated. With COVID cases declining and more people getting vaccinated, there are growing calls for hospital restrictions to be loosened for visitors. Across the GTA, rules vary but still limit who can visit and when. As Farah Morali tells us, that's taking a toll on family members.
He's getting more sick and more frail.
Oksana Kurilu describing her 81-year-old brother Ihor. He's in the final stages of cancer and needs to go to the hospital every 3 weeks for treatment and tests. But because of COVID-19 restrictions on visitors, she says no one can be there.
It's frustrating for me, but also his wife, who would like to be there, and she's not allowed either. Now,
while her brother insists he's able to manage, the family worries what they're missing.
I understand that you would still want some kind of control on who came in and what, but I think a little easing up would be humane and less cruel.
With more and more people getting vaccinated and COVID-19 cases declining, there's a growing call for hospitals to loosen the rules on visitors.
It's a completely different era now that people are vaccinated, and I think we have to understand the risk of people coming in, but also the benefit. And the benefits are huge for patients, for healthcare workers.
CBC News reached out to 5 different health networks. Aside from exceptional circumstances, like if a patient is nearing the end of their life, most only allow visits from a designated essential caregiver. Others permit things like outdoor visits with some family.
There's still inconsistency between hospitals, inconsistency between parts of hospitals, and inconsistency between people. Not everybody knows what the rules are. People are vaccinated. We have PPE. We know what to do. We know how to follow public health measures. And I really think it's time to return to our pre-pandemic visitor rules.
In a statement to CBC, UHN said it continues to follow public health guidance and most recent scientific data when updating visitation policies, while also balancing the needs of their patients. Unity Health told us the presence of essential care partners is a priority, and we continue to assess and revise our policies based on guidance from Ontario Health and Public Health. For Kurilu, she, her brother, and his wife are all double vaccinated and hopes the rules shift soon.
I think so many people who have sick relatives would be so happy to be able to be part of their well-being.
Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
Nick Sternkovic joins us now with the first look at the forecast. And Nick, gloomy skies today, and that will stick around with warming temperatures, though.
Hi, Kelda. Well, we're still looking at some unsettled weather as we head through the next few days anyway. But with that, we've got some increasing temperatures and humidity. So some very summer-like weather in the forecast this week. There's a broad look at the picture, and you notice this stuff here kind of scattered. It is a weak system that's approaching the GTA. And so the difficulty with forecasting these is that we can't pinpoint exactly when we're going to see rain. We're looking at scattered showers and thunderstorms really over the next couple of days. Now through tonight, The risk for an isolated shower tomorrow, I think through the morning and in the afternoon, isolated showers across the region as well. But temperatures are going to rise, and that is going to fuel some of these thunderstorms. So today, 24 degrees, tomorrow 26, but the humidex taking us up to 34. At least that's what it'll feel like there. The risk for a few showers through the overnight period tonight. Same story for tomorrow as well. Good chance we're going to see them, whether you see them in your neighborhood. Again, it just depends because they will be scattered in nature. Your full forecast is coming up in just a bit. Kelda.
Thanks, Nick. The crowd gathered at Nathan Phillips Square today in support of the Cuban people. This comes as protests erupted in Cuba over the weekend amid the worst economic crisis in decades, all while COVID cases climb. Here at home, the group Freedom Lovers say they are demanding the end of the dictatorship and for Canada to start sending aid. And more local reaction to what's happening in Cuba. Some Cuban Canadians say they support the protesters' demands. There are also several aid efforts underway, given shortages of medicine and food in the country. Lorena Redekop has those details.
They're proud Cuban Canadians, and like many Cubans, were glued to social media yesterday as they followed protests from cities across the country.
I'm scared for my family, my friends, but I'm scared for all Cubans that lives right now in Cuba.
But Yanis Lady Betancourt doesn't know much about what's happening today. The internet is still down, which protesters blame on the government.
They don't have internet since last night, but people are on the street asking for their freedom. This is not about the situation with the COVID. This is about the situation that Cubans people are tired of being slaves, are tired of living in a dictatorship.
But this comes as COVID cases there are at an all-time high, close to 7,000 yesterday, in a country with fewer people than Ontario. Betancourt's friend is collecting aid to ship and calling on the Canadian government to send supplies too. A group that supports the Cuban government is also working on an aid shipment. Members blame economic issues connected to the U.S. embargo.
They are trying to present Cuba as a failed state, and they are trying to present Cuba as a government which has lost control of the pandemic. Neither are true. What Cuba needs is help and solidarity. That is what Cuba needs.
Their next shipment will include goods collected by a Canadian missionary to Cuba.
I just wanted to come on here and show you a video of just a little bit of what happens at home base here with Friends to Cuba Mission.
Jennifer Raymer watched videos of the protests in shock.
I'm really emotional. I've had a love for Cuban people for many years, and I know that there is a struggle there, and there's so many friends and family and people I love. They're all hurting, and they hurt, so I hurt.
She was supposed to be flying to Cuba at the end of the month. That was canceled due to the COVID situation. But her stockpile of items keeps growing with more donations.
There's syringes, there's needles, there's medication, Tylenol, Advil, vitamin C. It's all coming to my door every day. It kind of feels like Christmas at my house.
The good news is the items could end up arriving sooner, with a flight possibly leaving this weekend. Whatever comes next in Cuba, she's praying it'll be peaceful. Lorena Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
The Minister of Economic Development was in Prince Edward County this afternoon, making a big announcement on a budget for the hard-hit tourism industry.
And it is a pleasure on the part of the government today to announce the creation of a new tourism relief fund that is aimed to help tourism operators across the country, and it will have a $500 million budget.
The Tourism Relief Fund was created to help businesses recover from the pandemic and grow in the future. They're investing $500 million over 2 years in the industry. The minister said a minimum of 10% of the budget will be for Indigenous tourism projects. And you are looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline. Cloudy this evening with some clear breaks, much like earlier in the day. Currently, it is 21 degrees downtown. All right, let's go back to Nick now with a look at your extended forecast. And Nick, temperatures will be rising once again.
Hi, Kelda. Well, very summer-like weather headed our way for the next few days anyway, and that shows up in our weather headlines. You've got the heat, you've got the humidity, and yeah, you've got some thunderstorms in the forecast as well. That's what we're looking at coming up over the next few days. Here's a look at the forecast. Through tonight, we've got scattered, isolated showers, maybe the risk of a thunderstorm in there as well. Tomorrow, again, you notice this model here really showing this stuff to be pretty broken up, but tomorrow through the morning and the afternoon, we're looking at scattered showers and thunderstorms across the region. So some areas of the GTA will certainly see it. Whether you do, it really just depends on where these things form. And then tomorrow night, again, we've got some isolated showers, and likely into Thursday morning, a more organized band of showers before it sort of breaks up. And I think Wednesday into Thursday, things actually not looking too bad. Should generally stay dry there, and might even see a few hints of sunshine as well into Thursday. Forecast for tonight down in southwestern Ontario, pretty warm, 20, 21 degrees. Lots in the way of humidity there, humidex to 34, but more organized showers and thunderstorms in southwestern Ontario. For the Golden Horseshoe, a little more difficult to pinpoint these things. Tonight, the risk for showers, and then tomorrow, again, definitely seeing them in the area, but to pinpoint neighborhoods is pretty difficult to do there. So don't be fooled by this. It's not an all-day washout event, but definitely going to see them scattered across the GTA. Wednesday, looking like 28 degrees, humidex to about 35. Thursday, same story, humidex to about 35, 36. Should stay dry, though, on Thursday, a few showers into Friday, and holding on to those high 20s as we head all the way toward the weekend. Kelda.
Thanks. A furry new friend has joined the Toronto Zoo. A special exhibit has opened up today with an Amur tiger cub on display for the first time in years.
Late in 2020, we paired our male and our female, who usually live separately, put them together for about 7 days. And during that time, we saw a number of breeding attempts, and fortunately, one of those was successful.
Visitors can take a daily peek at the adorable cub from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the Amur tiger habitat. The unnamed cub is currently nicknamed Big. He was born in the early hours of May 1st to 14-year-old mom, Maisie. Big now weighs 7.5 kilograms and is growing more confident and adventurous, but as you can see, he also likes to get his rest. According to the Toronto Zoo, Amur tigers are listed as an endangered species. Big is part of the first litter of Amur tiger cubs born at the zoo since 2007. And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Dwight Drummond has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night, everyone.